Okay, hello everyone. So let's see. We missed some stuff in the chat. Um, okay, so we have. Well, I just want to catch up on the chat, guys. So, let's see. Fidel is corrupting the broadcast. Funny joke. Danny King said he used to play in weekends with England that had 3 games of 150 at Saturday and 2 on Sunday. I mean, Saturday could be like 15 hours if we all games down to the wire. Well, yeah, but that's bad for your health in the long run. Uh, let's see. It is important to get a lot of sleep and prep. I'm having trouble sleeping and trying to predict future open events, and I'm kind of coming late. I also need to stay more focused and stop other thoughts and blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, it's been an issue for me too. Like I've also had tournaments where I had a hard time sleeping. Like I remember in Isle of Man when I played 2019, when I was like in my peak of my form, I couldn't sleep very well at some point, and then I just started losing game after game there after a good start. Engines claim boarding win. Okay, we'll get to that game shortly. Let's take a look though at what happened in the 10 game. So in the 10 game, that finally it showed up, and it was a4 g6 castles bishop g7. Okay, so black did go for the g6 setup as I kind of expected. Castles b4 d5. Still some kind of a theory. Knight takes. Knight e4. Bishop e6. Both sides are playing logically. King h7. So if knight c5, I guess there's some knight c6 move with some complications. Looks like that's the point. So rook e1, b6, bishop d2, queen d7, h4, rook d8. Okay, so it's somewhat of an equal position, tense game. The clocks are probably not accurate, so I'm gonna ignore them. All right, so let's go to broadcast. Let's open another game. Which game we haven't? Let's take a look at the Bortning game. Actually, let's take a look at this game first. So did anything amazing happen here? Not really, just like we left off here and then they played a few more moves and you know, it's still about equal. Okay, so let's go to Mikola Bortning game. Okay, so what happened here? Bishop g3, rook f8. Okay, that makes sense, logical. Queen g4, and queen g4 apparently is supposedly a mistake. You're supposed to go there, and queen e2. I mean, I guess you could go queen e2 immediately also. Although queen h5 apparently is clever to either gain a tempo or with like this, or force g6, taking away a square from the knight, like such. But instead white played queen g4, and here I'm guessing William Grave might have just missed bishop a3, because after black played bishop a3, he had 34 minutes, and now he has 17 minutes. So I think he just overlooked bishop a3 completely. The point being, of course, this queen a5, and now he's really struggling to survive, and this is quite difficult. Okay, so let's see if we could okay, never mind. I'm just trying to see if there's a... Okay, let's look at another game. Okay, Nico Chasen against John Lodger Hughes. What happened here? So if this we left off around here. Okay, so king g8, queen e4, queen a2 was a pawn sack. And, well, not a pawn sack. Well, actually it is a pawn sack after all. And now we sort of have a situation where white has active pieces, initiative, black's king is weak, but white is down a pawn. Apparently after knight g4, white might sort of be a bit better, but okay, white played rook d1. And yeah, after that, I guess it's a bit tricky. So Nico definitely has some initiative. Maybe queen b4 was better, but honestly I think most practical thing to do would have just been to just trade this. But okay, he allowed this initiative, and now the game is going to be spicing up. Okay, so Evan Rosenberg against Irina. What happened here? Okay, so last we left off at e4. Nico will have a hard time winning this one. Well, I don't know actually. I think he has good initiative. I think it could be tricky for black to play, so we'll see. So e4, bishop g4, queen a4, castles, d4. Okay, interesting move. cd, bishop g5. So Evan is playing for some initiative. Rook e8 makes sense, preparing for the rook to come to e8. Knight d2, bishop h3. Rook d1. Well, I don't know if bishop h3 was so good because it opened up the d1 square for the rooks. So maybe some waiting move would have been better. But he played there and then rook d1 and bishop g4. It's not so clear. Yeah, so this one is still a tense game. Okay, let's see what other game we have. Did anyone finish actually? Looks like everybody's still going. Who won? Oh, okay, yeah. But it's not on this. Okay, so Daniel Johnson. Let's look at the bird's eye view. Let's see if anything is of interest here. These top three are still like the same way. The Johnson game is still kind of... Oh, but Brewington, for some reason, 14 minutes. That doesn't make sense. He can't be thinking. There must be a glitch on the Daniel Johnson board. Rajat Harshad, as we know, we won. He won. Okay, let's take a look at Alexander Katz's game, because that one was sort of interesting. As we left off last time when I was here with Rajat Harshad, he said how he was very impressed with this idea d4, sacking a pawn for positional considerations. James Marsh drew Kieran Nasta. Yeah, but that game was not broadcasted, right? And James Marsh also drew Leif Pressman. So definitely doing very well so far, playing strong players. Very strong player himself. So yeah, so here black sacked the pawn. Very interesting idea. Got some initiative. Knight b4, also logical. Bishop d3, and here he castled, which maybe wasn't so great. Maybe it was better to take here and get rid of this bishop. If knight takes, you go knight d4, and if queen takes, you bring the queen to d5 and then play h5. And here black, I guess, is doing quite well. Yes, Ishan Hibar beat Connor Wang. Okay, yeah, so that would have been better. Instead, black castled, but now maybe this is not so good because this knight will be chased away. Maybe, well, actually maybe not. Yeah, maybe not actually, but the problem is that these pieces, knight and the bishop here on that d5 square, they might be a little bit redundant, right? I think that's the thing. They're a bit redundant. You don't really want to take on e4 because I take back and then you don't have the d5 square at all. So knight d3 would have been good because it would have gotten rid of the redundancy problem. Now the queen on d5 is excellent. And now you're going to have this pressure on this d4 pawn. But it's not a very obvious concept. But I guess here white might be, again, a little bit better, but with some attack. But yeah, here it still gets a bit tricky. So we'll see what ends up happening on that one. Does anyone else have any other requests about which game to see? Yeah, looks like William Grave is tanked after bishop a3. So any other interesting games here? Let's take a look at maybe Leif Pressman. Haven't looked at that in a while. So Leif Pressman, yeah. There was a moment where maybe black could consider sacking the exchange actually, to unbalance the game. Basically, you have the bishop pair and the central pawn for the exchange, which is usually enough compensation. But Leif decided to just play here, keep him at a distance. Queen c3. Here. Wow, white played some good moves. Bishop c1, bishop f4. I kind of like that maneuver. And b5 trying to play for a win, but maybe not the best actually, because after c5, kind of this pawn on c6 maybe is a bit weak. So white played there, and now white white actually might be a little bit better, so it will be a tough game for Leaf. I don't understand why Leaf pressman plays this bad fried liver line with white. His opponent knew 22 moves of prep last night, also finding though he had exactly the same position on move 22 in New York City norms. It's better for black. Only other game database was his. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know why he repeated it. Yeah, maybe the guy was able to prep it, right? So he probably should have maybe not repeated the same exact thing. Yeah. All right. So let's see what else we have. Alright, so let's go back to Andrew Tenge maybe. Okay, so some interesting things development happened. White played this h4, going for h5, and black played here bishop g4. I guess it was possible to take it actually simply. Don't really see why not. But he played bishop g4, and now after pawn takes, knight h2. I mean, I don't know. This pawn on e5 may be a bit weak, so not really sure if I agree with Andrew's play here. All right, this is Jurabek Kamrakulov game. He played rook e6. Okay, looks about equal, I guess. Let's see if anything happened in the Bortning game. So still thinking after bishop a3, really tough move. Or maybe there's a glitch. That's possible. Wasn't the Guangzhou child prodigy break in 2000 at age 8? I don't know, maybe. I wasn't actually aware, but yeah, I guess it's possible. Yeah, it's naturally talented player. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't aware. All right, Nico Chasen, what happened here? Rook d1, queen b4, queen g6. So white's still down a pawn, but white still has that initiative, and white's playing kind of quickly. So I feel like it could be a kind of a difficult game for black. He has to take care of his king before these pawns become relevant. Let's see. Evan Rosenberg against Irina. Okay, so that was knight d2, bishop h3. Okay, I see. So Irina wants to play for an attack. I see. That actually makes sense. Yeah, I guess it's not so easy for white to play, right? It looks a little bit scary. Daniel Johnson. Okay, this game probably froze. Yeah, this game just froze. I don't know. Like Brewington had 1 hour 30, and then he suddenly would get into an hour tank. This makes no sense. This game just froze. Liam Putnam. Alright, so let's see what happened there. Knight d5. Long thing. He's trying to induce maybe c6, so that d6 is weak, but maybe it's not all that weak actually. Seems like black has adequate counterplay. He can also put the knight on f7, guarding d6, and it's not so easy, and black has counterplay from here as well. So I guess Liam Putnam did not play it the best way. Maybe around here he should have traded on e5, played queen c2, and done something along those lines, but seems like the plans he chose were just not the best, right? Like knight d4, maybe knight e5 was better. I'm hoping for a day there will be much more ODB classical Fischer random turns. I'm surprised there's little interest in. I guess people think there's still enough in chess, but maybe at some point where all the chess will be draw, then they will play Fischer random. I don't know. Okay, Alexander Katz against Kyle Dong. So Kyle Dong messed up. Well, not exactly so much yet, right? It's still a playable tense game, right? It's still unclear what will happen. I mean, okay, he played a little bit inaccurately, but it's not that bad. I mean, still playable position. Queen d7, by the way, was a good move. With the idea of takes, you have here, and you're gonna get counterplay. So queen d7 was a very good move, threatening stuff. He was much better earlier. Okay, like there's maybe briefly for one move, but he needed to find this concept of trading off what looks like a good knight to try to solve the redundancy problem and free the square for the queen. And again, it's not even that obvious why black is better. To me, it wouldn't be that obvious, but I guess there's also going to be pressure on that pawn. For example, castle, I guess you just castle and play h5, but okay, it's easier said than done, right? It's not super obvious. Okay, the Pressman game, white did play c5, and White, I guess, is a tad better. Alright, so let's go back to Grant game. Theodore Chasheri beat Zheng Xuangling 21. Yeah, so I guess a small upset, but they're both very strong players, so anything could obviously happen at that level. So let's see if there's any. Yeah, William Grave really, at this point, I'm wondering if he really is tanking or if there's a delay in the transmission. Might be a delay in transmission. Nico Chasen, okay, there's still nothing dramatic is happening, I guess. Yeah, Evan Rosenberg. Yeah, this one is interesting. Yeah, rook e5, rook h5. You know, let's see how Evan will try to defend it. Computer says this, and then bishop h1, but still, it's not. I guess Irina might be considering this as well. h4, but I guess here there's going to be some sort of counterplay. White knight gets to d5, so not super easy. Alright, this game is just froze. This game, okay, nothing much happened. Okay, does anyone wanna? Which game do you guys have? Board 10 you want. Okay, so let's see. Board 10. Okay, so let's see. So this is a Leaf Pressman. Yeah, definitely a glitch in the Daniel Johnson game. Yes, I mean because. Hi Alex, this is Ilya. What is your prediction for this tournament? Yeah, it's very hard to predict. I mean, I predict very fighting games. But who wins? I mean, I would have no clue, right? It's very hard to predict that. Is there a glitch in the move feed in the Johnson game? Yeah, for sure there is. Warden is in great form. He won against opening trap against Aditya Das yesterday with h4 in the knight erf. Might win the term. He's letting off steam from poor play recently. Yeah, I mean, Sicilian knight erf could get very dangerous very quickly. I know enough about that. Yeah, he's playing well this game too. Yeah, Bortnik is one of these players. When he plays well, he can play very, very well. He's beaten me in Marshall Premier. He's a very talented, dangerous player. But he's inconsistent. So yeah, he's definitely someone who could win. I mean, I would not be surprised. Yeah, I guess here 95 makes sense, right? Because after 95, our goal is after takes, we want to try to put the rook on d6 right here, right? And then put the other one on d1. And white is sort of putting some pressure. Trading the knight for the bishop and on d3 in the dawn game seems obvious to me because bishop opposite color. You want to have a light square bishop with white. Okay, so let's go back to that dawn game. By the way, meteorologic Eclipse is a master player, so he definitely knows what he's saying. Yeah, he says you want to have a light square bishop here. Because of opposite color bishops, and when you have opposite color bishops, you have better attacking chances, even down a pawn. For me, I understand chess better when I'm thinking about endgame from early on. Yeah, I know it seems strange. For me, I play better game. Like, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you don't reach master level without a good chess understanding. So that's there's definitely something to be said for that. I definitely agree. I mean, I think for many players this would be natural, right? But Kyle, he probably calculates very well, but this decision, okay, it's probably still needs to grow a little bit to make such decisions. Tyrell Harriott also had his knight on h8 and got hammered by Andrew 10. Yeah, he played that opening against London a bit weird with the knight on e7, g6, and he quickly got h4, h5, and then brought the knight to h8. Although he still had chances after that. Marshall, he's a master. Do you know who I am? I will checkmate your soul. No, I'm actually not sure who you are. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know who you are. I apologize. Uh, uh, let's see. No, the reason I know who the other person is that he told me that's... Okay. So let's see. Grand Xu. Okay, there. Nothing much is happening in maneuver game. Black has this weakness on e5 though, so I kind of think white is doing well. Jurabek. Wait, what just happened here? So bishop e5, d5, queen d7. Okay, so this attacks a bunch of pawns, so I guess knight d8 makes sense. Okay, I mean, here the game can definitely spice up. We'll see. Okay, so a move was played after a very long think, like a 30-minute think, and queen a5 happened. And now white definitely has a very difficult position, but it's not maybe completely lost yet. Looks like he still has practical chances, but certainly it's a bit hard. Oh, hi, James Jeffrey. How are you? Caesar Kings. Yes, nice to see you here. All right, so let's see. Nico Chasen. Okay, nothing new happened on this one. Evan Rosenberg. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Rook d1, rook e5. Evan played a 4. And now I guess rook h5 would be natural, but Arena probably thought, okay, it's not so clear. The knight goes to f3, defending that. Maybe g5, but queen c2, and who knows, right? Bit complicated. So Arena just went back, claiming that maybe e4 is now quite a bit weak. And after rook e7, yeah, here Evan is thinking, okay, so this is black is still better. Black's still up a pawn, so pretty hard for white to prove compensation here. Okay, this Daniel Johnson, okay, it's still, yeah, black is already down to 0, but yeah, clearly there's a glitch on this board for some reason. All right, Leon Putnam. Okay, so what happened here? H3, f5, knight dc2. And now, black actually has this very interesting move, knight f3, to try to trade the knight for the bishop and get the bishop pair. I think if black does that, maybe he's going to be doing well. Why is Joseph Zeltsin, Brian Weiss on board? Do you want to just type it in, or should I explain? Should I explain the question about why is Joseph Zeltsin? Because I know the answer.
Right.
No, you just write it down. I don't want to talk about that. All right, so 95 did happen. Good move. And now black played b4. Yeah, b4 is a good move. Trying to get counterplay because you don't want to allow a position like this where white will have this outpost on d6 with no winning chances for black. So Leaf played b4, and I guess if takes, he wants to take, and then take on e5 eventually. And should be fine. So you can try queen e3, and white is still a little bit better, but at least maybe Leaf says, okay, in the endgame, maybe the pawn on b3 could be a tad weak. Okay, so let's see. Grand Zoo. Nothing much happening. Okay, so here Zachary is thinking. Okay, so here, this one, yeah, he didn't find the best defense. Rook f1. Yeah, he needed an unsigned board for extra room since, yeah, that is Brian Weiss. We're talking about Brian Weiss. He's the one who needed. Yeah, so rook f1 would have been very strong because it has twofold idea. One idea is that if you do this, it doesn't work anymore because I go queen f3 intermezzo, and then I go rook b2 because I defend c3, which is the key. And if rook f1, queen f1, bishop b2, at least, you know, the knight is unpinned and there's not going to be check. So rook f1 would have been a very nice defense, but I think, you know, William just didn't see it, right? Otherwise, maybe he would have played rook b1 quicker. But he was probably thinking he's already losing here, and sometimes that happens when you miss a move, you kind of get discarded. Oh, it looks like you know, William is actually here, so I guess um, I guess this game is actually officially over. It's on a 15-minute delay. Um, but yeah, we don't really know what happened. But he's here, so if you want to talk about the game, you can go ahead and join us. This is William Grave.
Wow.
The game is still officially ongoing. Well, a game is officially over, but here
Can I
it's.
say what happened?
Yeah, sure.
I lost.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Bishop A3 was incredibly brilliant. I was super shocked. I did not see this at all. I mean, I assume it was very good for black.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, Bishop A3 is very strong. You did have this chance though to play Rook F1 where you weren't losing immediately, because if Bishop takes B2 now, there's Rook takes, King takes, Queen F3.
I did not see that.
Yeah, and if Rook takes, King takes, Bishop B2, at least you can move the knight, and of course you're still worse, but here you have much better chances, of course, to survive.
I was looking at Rook B1, and the other thing I was looking at, I guess, was
Rook B1, I mean, no, Rook B1 was correct. I meant like after
Okay.
this. What else were you considering, by the way, after Bishop A3? You were thinking a long time.
yeah. I was really quite shocked. I was looking at pawn takes A3, Queen A5, King E2, takes C3, Rook HD1. But this is very, very bad.
Yeah.
I assumed like takes E2, give another couple checks.
Yeah.
And this is quite losing.
Yeah.
I think
for
there's knight
pawn
F5
and
also, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pinned that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not very good. I guess the other thing, Bishop A3, I was looking at Rook D1, Bishop B2, Rook D8, and then Knight D1.
Yeah.
But also very bad. I think none of this
Yeah.
was good. I thought with Bishop F2, like, at least it was maybe somewhat practical that, like,
Yeah.
okay, my king's safe. But yeah, the engine line is what happened in the game.
Queen C3.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Queen
the...
D7.
Yeah.
Queen E5, and then you tried Queen F8. It's kind
Yeah.
of the only chance to try to at least get back 2 pieces for a Rook.
Yeah. And then, actually, after Bishop takes E5, my flag fell thinking.
Oh, flag
So,
fell thinking.
it was... I don't think it changed the outcome.
Right, I
Either
mean,
way.
it is kind of lost, but
Yeah.
I was okay, but that makes sense. Yeah, why the game ended quite quickly.
Right.
But do you want to talk a little bit about an earlier part of the game?
Sure.
First of all, I guess, were you a little bit surprised about A6?
Yeah, so I guess either I have to transpose to an open Sicilian, or I play this with G3,
Yeah.
Bishop G2, and D3, which isn't really how I wanted to set up. I like this system, like, for example, if he played A6 on the second move,
Yes.
then I would play this with like G3, B5, Bishop G2, Bishop B7, and then this system with like D3 and Knight H3.
Yeah. And then
which
you
is
go for F4 and things
right,
like that.
a little bit more flexible this way. And so I felt like I was transposing to that, but had committed to F4 with this move order.
Yeah,
So I felt like if I wanted to play for an advantage, I had to transpose back to an open Sicilian.
that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. A6 is maybe a clever move order against this.
Yeah.
I also know 97 is a move, but then I guess you do also transpose into an open Sicilian.
Right.
But yeah, so if you're a King's Indian player, then it's like this is good thing. But it depends.
I
on
guess that was also quite playable. And then
But no, D4 is fine, of course. Takes queen. Yeah, queen. This is transposed into some Taimanov.
right.
Actually, I think it directly transposed because F4 is like one of the moves there.
Right, and I knew like a little bit about this. I did not know pawn takes c6 though.
Queen takes C6, Bishop F3 is kind of the more like the main line, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, pawn takes. Yeah, there was one decision that surprised me a bit though, that you took on E5. I would have probably been more inclined to suggest F5 to block the bishop. Not give him the E5 square. Not give him the
That makes
attack.
sense. I thought I could keep this extra pawn, and I thought my light square bishop here would be very bad. I guess it was bad in either case.
Yeah, it's probably bad in either case, but I think if you want to keep the tension, then the better way would have been to castle, because E takes, you go E5.
Right. E takes, I agree, is a bad move. Yeah.
But if he doesn't take ED, then okay, you can play F5 next move, maybe under
Right. I
better
thought
circumstances.
here maybe like check and like knight e7 or something.
Yes, and then F5 probably.
Right.
And it looks pretty good, right? I think go A4, Queen E2. And
Yeah,
here
I guess-
your king is
I
your
guess in
king
his
is safe and his
structure-
bishop is bad. I remember when I was playing this opening a little bit, I would not like position like that with black. So that's why to me, I think F5 is something that I would really not like seeing if
That
I'm
makes
black
sense.
in that
The knight
position.
should be on F6 if I go F5, right? Not E7.
Yeah, but
Right.
even then, there's it's not a simple position to play. You have to play some creative H5 sometimes.
Okay.
It's not so simple. You might get attacked. So, but I think castle might be the most accurate. But either way,
Just because it keeps both things open.
yeah, either way, I think I was a bit surprised by this because this seems to be okay, kind of what black wants.
At first, I thought I was going to go knight d5 after bishop e6, but it's
The thing is,
certainly not working.
he has other moves too, right? He has knight e7, knight g6.
Right.
I just feel like the type of position is kind of like something that black is generally pretty happy with.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, I didn't think it would be so easy to get the pawn back, but
Well, even if he doesn't in the near future, I still think like there's always going to be compensation in these kind of positions because of active pieces. But okay, bishop e6. Yeah, the bishop g4 was good. Queen f3, knight e7. Takes. Bishop g3 was an excellent
Right.
move.
Here-
You stopped castling.
here I was actually feeling quite good about my position. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and here you had this move queen h5, which would have been very strong because if g6 you go back and then you've disturbed his heart when you took away knight g6, and then you tried rook f1 and sort of okay.
Right. I knew I didn't want to take h7.
And if queen g, and then if knight g6, I guess rook d1 or something like that. And position is very messy, but I guess you're probably okay in this position.
Was queen g4 okay if not for bishop a3? Because I thought I was attacking two important pawns.
Yeah, I don't know how to make like extra lines. I forget how to do that.
But I guess it's not even the recommendation. Oh, but queen a5, it prepares bishop a3?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
So, like, for example, if I take e6, you bishop...
Well, actually, it's not
Wow.
just. Yeah, it's not just.
My king's in a very bad spot in all
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, I guess queen g4 might be
Right.
bad for other reasons too, right? Queen a5
Interesting.
also seems to be problematic with queen b4. But,
What's the difference with the pawn on g6? Or the queen's just never supposed to go there?
Yeah, queen's not supposed to go there at all. Like,
So
you would
queen
normally
h5,
go queen e2, but queen e2, then I guess knight g6 and stuff. So you're trying to either gain a tempo by knight g6,
Right.
or you're forcing the knight to go to a bad square.
So now with queen e2...
The knight's bad now.
And the same line, okay.
Knight is bad, and then you're probably okay. You're gonna bring a knight somewhere, rook somewhere. You're gonna consolidate, and his knight is gonna be having a hard time getting in the game because black doesn't really want to play g5.
That makes sense.
So queen h5 would have been really strong because he has to make a
I was
tough
very close to
decision.
going queen h5, but then I was like, queen g4, this attacks two important pawns.
Yeah, queen g4. Maybe you underestimated his.
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a tough game, but thank you for coming here. Do you wanna?
Yeah.
I think that in general, like taking on e5 is a little, like, I think you should just keep the structure like that.
Yeah, I mean, it clearly turned out to not work out well. I never got my king out of the center.
Wait, you don't go to the same school as he does, do you?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
But yeah, I mean, bishop a3, I mean, what a move.
Yeah, bishop a3 was very strong, and
Yeah.
yeah. Also, it
He
leaves you in a
played quite
shock
well.
state, and then kind of, yeah. Do you want to take a look at one other game maybe that was there?
Sure.
Like, did any other